So we meet again this week, and we are from group 2, and our topic is goodness is the one factor which gives real value of life. So moving forward, the theme of our presentation would incorporate Swami's speech titled The Great and the Good. Okay, this is from Satya Sai Speaks, Volume 21, 1988, on the 7th of August, 1988. And we will incorporate that into the letter, so and also the myriad of experiences as well. So then what will we be discussing? The first is the difference between goodness and greatness. Swami says is determined by a few factors, one of which is sanctity, or how do we sanctify ourselves. And then we move forward to how devotion or pure bhakti can help elevate our spiritual self and also our spiritual understanding and where we are in the spiritual journey. And to a certain extent, this bhakti can also overpower the grip of ego and jealousy. And next, Swami goes on to speak about the 4 temples. This is a rather new thing, a rather new topic on knowledge, even for me. And it's my first time hearing this, so I thought of just sharing this as well. Now, moving forward, may I invite someone from group 2 to volunteer? Sister Geeta, are you here, sister?
Yes, I am, Sabitan.
Geeta, would you be kind enough to just read the paragraph first, please?
Can? Dear Rajagopal, accept my blessings and love. All are happy days to a man of true knowledge. Happiness is an internal conscious experience which comes as the effect of the extinction of a mental or physical desire. The lesser the desires, the greater is the happiness. So that perfect happiness consists in the destruction or satisfaction of all desires in the absolute being.
1 second, sister. Okay, go ahead.
Greatness is really independent and does not depend upon externals. It is the sense of perfection or the consciousness of the achievement of the highest end of life that is called greatness. Fame among people is not called greatness in its strictest sense. The answer is more a question of definition, and the definition depends on the viewpoint, culture, and experience of each man. Goodness is not false or impossible, but it is the one factor which gives real value of life. Life without goodness is not real life, but only a scene of the destructive dance of the evil forces which shall drown the individual in grief. Goodness is the way to true happiness. In the ultimate analysis, there is no separate entity as goodness. It obtains only in the relative plane. Where duality is transcended, no question of pairs of opposites arises. Raju, God is always with you, in you. Be happy.
Thank you so much, Sister Geeta. So now we move on from the passage, and we, in order for us to navigate through this topic of goodness versus greatness and what's the difference between it, first we need to understand a very important concept which is depicted through a pyramid, and this pyramid is called the pyramid of desires. And for this, I would like to invite Sister Dr. Sharmini to help us further understand this pyramid of desires.
Thank you, Brother Sabita. Sairam, everyone. With regards to this pyramid of desires, it shows us how our desires as we move on upwards becomes lesser and lesser. So initially at the base, you can see that we have grosser desires. During childhood and teen and youth, there's toys and joys of life, fun and games and all that. It's grosser desires. It's more self-centered and more selfish. Even as an adult, acquisition and enjoyment, the search for name, fame, money, status, and all that. So it's more self-centered and more selfish. But as you move upwards along this pyramid of desires, you find that you have noble aims, because there comes a point of time that you find that all this acquisition and enjoyment doesn't give you that contentment and fulfillment. You want to do something more. Then you start thinking about the community. So you have noble aims, you help, you do service activities and all that. And then as you move upwards along this pyramid, you start thinking of improving yourself. Okay, so this is where self-development. But as you go up, you notice the desires become subtler and subtler. It's not so gross anymore. So, and it's unselfish. From noble aim onwards, it's unselfish desires. Then comes self-development. And then from self-development, I think in chapter 4 of the Bhagavad Gita, there's the different types of yajnas. And in the different types of yajnas, Dravya Yajna, Tapo Yajna, Yoga Yajna, and the bottommost, which is Swadhyaya Jnana Yajna, is about self-development. When we develop ourselves, we are actually being a beacon of light to the community. We are actually able to help and serve the community better. So that's where self-development is important. And from self-development comes self-inquiry. You start asking questions, larger questions like, who am I? What am I seeking? How can I find it? And all the larger questions of life come in. By this time, your desires are not that many. It's very few. The quality of desires are much better compared to the bottom, where the quantity was more and the quality was less. But as you move higher, the quantity is less and the quality is better. Then comes at the pinnacle, the self-realization. You realize, I am that. Thank you, and back to you, brother.
Okay, thank you so much, Sister Sharmini, for the wonderful explanation. If you look at the side, the left-hand side here, you will see that there's this arrow pointing downwards. Quantity of desire, fewer, and then many, and then poorer in terms of quality of happiness. At the base of the pyramid, quality of happiness is poorer, and somewhere in the middle it gets better, and then eventually, as we let go of desires, just as Sister Sharmini mentioned earlier, when you move towards self-realization or letting go and accepting, the quality of happiness within yourself also improves significantly. Okay, so now, point of reflection for everyone who's present here. So if you were to place yourself in this pyramid, where do you think you would be at this moment? Right? Sometimes it's good to acquire knowledge, and part of acquiring knowledge is also reflecting. So in this brief reflective contemplation that we are at in the moment, maybe taking a few breaths in and out and just reflecting on where you are at in this moment. Do you still have childhood desires? Do you still have some youth, teen, fun game kind of passion, adult passion? Or have you moved up to more noble aims, self-development? Or are you at self-inquiry or self-realization? No, it's all a mixture, So sometimes it's not clear where we are at the very moment, but it seems to be that all of these components are actually working simultaneously. And sometimes there's a tug between the upward moving path and also moving downwards as well. There's always this tug of war which happens within our internal and external um, uh, reactions on a day-to-day basis. So just taking some time to reflect. And maybe I would like to open this to the floor, and anyone who would like to share any experiences, or if you have any questions regarding this pyramid, Sister Sharamni would be happy to answer your questions. Anyone?
Saira, add value to society. Add value to society. And I am that, both. I think I'm that, both. But
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Whenever I meet somebody or wherever I go, I'm always thinking about Swami's teaching and value, and I pass it to other people who I meet. When we are living in apartments, so we are groups. I share with them and everything. Wherever I go, I need to share this. And whenever we go for service, to elders' home, cancer home, Mother Teresa home, mentally retarded home, and like Grama Sevaka, and in personal help also we do, not only the center and other side, and the personal way of life also I do. So I feel, but little more to go. 75%, not 25%. Saira.
Sairam, Sairam, thank you for your wonderful sharing. Yeah, sister brought up a wonderful point here, which is noble aim and how adding value to the society is an integral part of moving forward. And eventually you get to be, you have clarity of thought, balance of mind, action, and you become a better person guided by your conscience, of course. So thank you so much. Anyone else has any thoughts or reflection to share regarding this pyramid of desires?
Brother Sairam, see, there are two categories of people here, One is supposed to be the spiritual minded. The other is supposed to be spiritual, but then he is more akin to being non-spiritual. Therefore, he can be either a very hard-hearted person, or he could be somebody who is very much involved in dark activities because of bad association and bad influence. So now we have got childhood of someone who is very spiritual and someone who has got dark activities, influence of dark activities. And you see the pyramid. If you look at it, the pyramid is not going to be pyramidal in that respect, like going towards self-realization for those who are in this area where they are associated with dark activities. So what is going to happen to them? They might come up well in education, but still they are influenced by these dark activities. Dark means negative, adharmic, something which is not akin to spiritual desires. So what happens to them is they may be successful in their education, but they will get entangled into other kind of influences which will mangle them, notwithstanding the fact that they are highly educated. For instance, is very highly educated, is a doctor, but this doctor is very involved in alcohol. He doesn't go to the operation theater without taking a drink. He gets his guts from the drink. He does his surgery well because of the drink. Not because of drink, because of his professional qualification, he does it well. But he needs that confidence, and the confidence level goes up when he takes the drink. So we have got that kind of a person. And we have got the spiritual-minded person who are calm, and as they grow older, they become adults, noble aim, and there is self-development, self-inquiry, going towards self-realization. So now what I'm trying to tell you is, what is important for this self-realization pyramid is, it's very important that we have spiritual faith, that we have a guru, that we are spiritual minded, and that we are able to take the challenges in the way Swami has guided. And then we go on to the levels, higher levels, despite the faults and falls which we may be entangled with. That means we walk and drop, and we get hurt, and then we carry on because of our faith. And then we go on the ladder higher and higher, but without giving up the faith. We are lucky in the sense that we have got Sai centers, Sai programs, all those associated, and we have got very good leadership, and we have got Sais who are at a higher level, to whom we look upon them as Sai masters like, and then these things promotes us to the higher level. Well, what about those who are in that adharmic position? What happens? I remember this doctor at the time of his retirement. He was completely involved with drinks, and he retired without much respect. Everybody spoke well about him, but they also spoke about his drinks, alcohol habits, and things like that. So there is a fear that he might make an error. There's a fear that the drinks might tilt into the wrong direction, and he might make a fault in the surgery. So education is one thing, and then the character building has been affected by these habits of his, which he gathered from a very young age. Our encouragement here is to make sure that right from the beginning, we will give the exposure along the lines for this pyramid to grow, to be wholly associated with Swami, so that we are blessed to go towards a direction of self-realization. Sairam, brother, that's what I just wanted to say. Hey, another thing I wanted to tell you is this. I remember a teacher of mine at a very young age. Believe me or not, I was just in standard 3. He's a Malay teacher. You know what he did, in the class? He was talking about old age, young people, fun, and things like that. And he drew a semicircle. He drew a semicircle on the board, I remember. Then he said, look, we are at this age, at this end, on the left hand, you are growing, he says, you are growing. And then as you grow, and then it curves. It curves as you age, all those tendencies, everything about you, everything matures, and then it curves, and then it comes down, slopes, and falls. And right at the base, that's where your life ends. So when you examine the semicircle, he says, you on the left-hand side, as between the age of 10 and 20, on the right-hand side, at the same latitude, it will be from 20 to 40. So he says, the behavior you have from 10 to 20, if it is unchecked, it will repeat when you are 20 to 40. And as you grow older, if the behavior remains, it will still continue. For example, if you are at, say, if you are at a later age, maybe about 40 years, you are still going after a very wild life, wasting your life. At the age of 80, although you are in a state that you're not able to do anything, still the mind will go into the direction of that kind of adharmic activities. So this teacher explained how that curve works. So the teacher was trying to promote, how do you come out of this? He explained, whatever you do in your youth, in your later life, you shouldn't. How is that you're going to change? Then he gave an example. Prophet Muhammad, he said, only became a prophet at the age of 40. After the age of 40, because of his spirituality in him, that bliss in him gave him what I call a diametrically opposite change, and he became a spiritual-minded person. And whatever he could have done at an early age never came in his later age. So what are we talking about? Spirituality and how to endorse it, build it, cultivate, grow and grow and grow with it. Sai Ram, brother.
Sai Ram, thank you, Brother Rama, for the wonderful sharing. Brother Rama initially shared on the distinction between how life can actually turn out quite differently for people. Sometimes they can have a very high position, but they may also have habits which are perhaps in contrary to the position that they're holding. And then how grateful we are that we have Bhagwan with us, Swami, to guide us in this fashion and to really look out for us. And actually, he does most of the work, and he actually pulls us up towards self-realization in ways that in unimaginable ways. Sometimes it's just difficult to comprehend the strings that he has, the strings that he's using to guide us. And finally, Brother Rama also ended with a more grateful note, and how his teacher helped him out to understand that life actually turns out in a certain way. And even Prophet Muhammad, the moment he became spiritual, that's when he acquired the bliss and Thai religion, and the teaching came about for him as well. So, thank you so much.
Sabitan.
Yeah.
Sabitan, the bottom part of this triangle, when you see path of priyas. So the axis there is part. Can you explain?
Yeah, the axis is a path of Shreyas, path of the goodness and path of pleasant. So the x-axis is Shreyas and the y-axis is Prayas.
Wait. No, the bottom part is, I saw path of prayas. What do you mean by that? That means it's on the bottom side is prayas, is it?
Yeah, Prayas is part of the pleasant. That means it's fleeting, transient,
No.
and all that. So that is Prayas, and what is more permanent is on the x-axis, part of Shreyas.
Oh, so the y-axis is Shreyas and the x-axis is...
The x-axis, which is vertical, is actually part of Shreyas, which is more permanent and real, and the path of Prayas, which is pleasant, which is basically ephemeral, transient, and fleeting, is the y-axis, which is part of Prayas.
Okay. So they mean, but we didn't see the word Shreyas here. That's why. So
yeah, Shreyas is the vertical axis. Yeah, I think my picture didn't show it.
Okay. The other thing is that this is like the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where you at the lower end is where you satisfy everything to survive in this world. So basically you look for stability, you look for security, those kind of stuff. These are the basic, even animals do that, because then they'll stop the evolution there, because they've achieved that, then they've stopped. And if we also achieve that, we get the university degree, and then we just go around establishing ourselves, stability and for security, and we are not moving higher up. Then our growth is stopped there, stagnant there. That's why the other questions are asked. And Bhagwan says, Jnanavahini, that one who is not questioning, one who never questioning will never become a jnani. So keep on questioning, who am I, what am I? It's only this self-inquiry questions that will lead you to higher realization of who we are. So and that can only come if our mind. That's why when we always say, when people have problems, if we spend the rest of our lives firefighting all our issues and problems, then we won't have our mind to contemplate upon the higher. So the issue here is that we spiritual people must know a method, a process by which they can address the challenges, so that the mind is freed from the all this contamination of the world, so that it can be allowed to contemplate on God, contemplate on. So your mind, it's grace. The grace of God is to have peace, is to have happiness, is to have joy, that kind of thing. Then only then can we enter into this self-inquiry and self-realization self. Otherwise, we'll be too preoccupied from morning to night only doing what we are supposed to do. Even we are so habituated in doing what we are supposed to do, even when we retire, we will find that we cannot continue, because the habit of the world, so we continue. Even after retire, we will say we will have time after retirement. But after retirement, I'm telling you, we won't go crazy, because we'll keep on trying to keep our mind occupied, and we will never get to this point. So this is why in the Hindu Shastras, they prescribe brahmachari. So before you even go into the world, they introduce you the subject of brahmachari, so that you have a self-inquiry mind. You always will move towards this particular quest. Even if you look at the Brahmin wedding, if you notice, there's one ceremony in which the groom is supposed to go to Kashi, and then they will intercept that, and then he will be made a U-turn and come back for married life. There is one ceremony which they will do. I used to think about this thing for a long time. How will the ancient people do something like this? You are going to Kashi, you intercept that particular thing and bring them back. It was one Brahmin wedding. I thought about that. I was sitting there and contemplating, why did they do this? Why did they do this? How come they? So I asked some people there also, what is the significance of that? And the explanation they gave me did not satisfy me. So in deep contemplation, only I realized, see, already you're programmed for the higher. Already you're programmed. Your life must be more for self-realization. That is your ultimate. But in between, you are reminded, you take on your journey, but you're reminded of your duties. You return back and do your duties, but don't forget the higher duty, you see. So this is a very powerful reminder. We find that sometimes we suffer from spiritual Alzheimer's. We forget the higher dimensions of life and spend the entire life thinking that this is what life is all about. And then finally we vegetate and die. And finally we put in the coffin, bundle and taken out. At that time also it's too late, isn't it? So this thing, do not dissipate. So Baba made us realize this. He never said, dear Malaysians, dear Southeast Asian, dear Zone 4 members, dear ladies. He never addressed that. Have you seen ever him addressing ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters of the world, of which I am now the. He never said all that. He just said Atma Sarupa. That means, hey, embodiment of Atma. You are this. Remind yourself, this Atma. And Atma is now taking you to the Paramatma. So that realization was very strong in us. So the top of for us now, the top of this thing must be very strongly embedded. All the rest becomes incidental objectives for us to achieve the higher. Once we have this priority in mind, the rest will just become no problem. You'll definitely issue that. Every problem you see will be a problem leading you to self-realization. So you won't stop there and say, oh, problem. But you'll say, hey, this problem, how is this problem teaching me to become more self-realization? How is this problem become? That's why the word making the universe, the university, Baba said that. Making the universe the university. That means to say, every objective in everything that happens in the world is a reminder for me to increase my self-inquiry for the purposes of self-realization. You see, the alignment comes back. Alignment comes back. A husband and wife is fighting. Now let's say husband and wife. Oh, I'm fighting every day. I don't have peace of mind. I don't have anything. What is there for me to get? So you can have that feeling. But then if you are in this triangle, you plant the thing, she's making me annoyed. But then no, thank God she's making me annoyed, because now because of her, I am developing more and more patience. Because of her, I cannot react now, because if I react now, I'll get more angry. So I now restrain. So now, see, I'm restraining, I'm patient. I'm developing all these qualities because of the wife. That's what Socrates did there. Socrates and his wife had big issues and problems. There was a big fight. So one day, it seems Socrates' wife will be out of anger, will throw things at him. So one day Socrates was sitting outside the house on the staircase. Friends were passing by. Socrates, why are you looking very sad? Then Socrates said, my wife has gone to the market. So why are you so sad? No, there is nobody here to test my patience. Nobody. So you see how every opportunity every challenge is turned into an opportunity. This triangle is a very powerful triangle, dear brothers and sisters, but we really need to do not take this as a theoretical triangle. This is very good. And look at the other one, the left side they have put there is very nice, sister. You explained that we are moving from many desires to one desire. You have explained that, sister?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
We are reducing the desires as we climb up the pyramid.
Yeah.
Until the ultimate goal is only one, and that is to realize the self.
Yeah, and Swami echoed that very nicely, and I like this word. It's like Rajinikanth dialogue. Swami said, "My desire is to make you desireless." I like that. My desire is to make you desireless. So from many you can have, then slowly we find desires coming down. We are no more attached to many things. We are no slowly come back only to that one desire. What is that? To go back to God. Then from here, the quality of happiness. Last time not poor, but as we move along our lines, as we move higher and higher up, you find that the quality of happiness becomes more and more sustainable, more and more real. So this is what it is. In fact, it's now when you go really up there, you will find that the happiness quality will slowly evolve to bliss already, slowly. So you'll go to higher and higher levels of bliss, higher and higher. And then and even if we go deeper, we'll go into the quintillon bliss, which is 10 to the power 18 bliss, 10 to the power. So this is what our journey, this is the whole blueprint of our spiritual growth. So please take a view this, please view this particular thing. It is the anatomy of our growth. It is our destination. This is where we are supposed to be going towards. So these words like self-realization, I am that and all that, from this angle, it will extremely look like today somebody asked me, they telephoned me and asked me. So I said, go towards God. How do I, I'm going to give something. So they said, how am I to make people, what is the ultimate goal? I'm talking about goal. And I said, goal, leadership, goal, every other organization does it. But the spiritual organization talks about leadership and goal. There's only one. What is that? We are not, don't go and talk about the same thing that your office talks about leadership. The other people talk about leadership. That's all good. But in our leadership, it's very simple. Lead yourself to God. All the rest will come to its proper state. So when you lead ourselves to God means this is the ultimate. We are supposed to reach. What is it that I must do to manage my mind in order to reach God? So as I'm going towards Him, what should I be? I should become more calm. There should be greater clarity. There should be more serenity. There should be more tranquility. There should be more, what you call, inclusiveness. Everything and anything of Baba's qualities, we must now start developing in us, or we must experience that more and more. We must enjoy that more and more. In a way, we don't make we don't make small issues big. We always say, never mind, doesn't matter. That kind of that attitude of forbearance must come inside. Ability to endure must be like that. Every quality of Satisai must come out, because when you say, I am that, Baba already showed his qualities. I am that means you look at Satyam Shivam Sundaram, all his qualities are enumerated there through incidences and stories. So our job is to mirror that only. So when he reflects that his qualities, we are saying, how far is my quality from his quality? How far is my feeling towards his feeling? As we keep on tuning, then slowly we become, I am that. See, that is what this chart and this diagram really means. Then you'll find really good. So this is why Sabitan just now mentioned that look at this particular thing. How far are we? So I can give you a simple thing, self-inquiry. How often are we inquiring about ourselves? How often when you get, hey, one more day has passed by. What have I improved? Am I getting closer? Am I getting more and more spiritual? Am I getting deeper? The self-inquiry, what is the ultimate purpose of life? Why am I doing this? What is this ritual? Oh, you go to a temple or someone doing some puja. Why did they do that puja? Why did they pour that the chandanam on that Shivalingam on the Shivaratri? What's the necessity for that? So if you keep on having that inquisitiveness will flower, will blossom. But if you look at something and that inquisitiveness is not even coming to question, then we'll accept all these things. Then we are just ritual. like just mere attendance of something function. We are not engaging in that. That is what this self-inquiry will lead to self-realization, and then slowly each of us develop like that. So it's very nice diagrams, this Sabaton system, very nice. And this is the growth of wisdom. Growth in ultimately our job, see, we don't need to have knowledge. Knowledge, there many people have that. Lots of people have knowledge, we can just read up. But translating knowledge into wisdom is what it is. And Baba said the end of wisdom is freedom. That means mukti. That means that is what the whole thing is. Should be free. That doesn't mean two wings will come on the bird and we fly off. But the wings of that fact that we are not attached to anything, we will do our particular work, and we are just free to do, independent to exert whatever it is without name, fame, recognition. That kind of spiritual dynamism is the Shiva Tandavam that we talked about in the Shivaratri, that hair matted, that Shiva dancing. That is that spirit of the spiritualists. Anyway, sorry, I just got excited. Thank you.
Can I add something to Suresh talk where he talked about self-inquiry? I think there are two parts in it. First part, you're talking about whatever happened, you ask why, or what. Okay. The other one, self-inquiry, is talking about meditation, where you do who am I or soham meditation. That is the inner journey, right? There are two ways of self-inquiry here referring to, right? I think we have to take note of it. The other thing is when Brother Rama talked about the doctor who drink alcohol and do surgery, all that, it's very interesting. I think probably Brother Suresh can add more. I remember last time Sister Chandrika, I think today she's not here. She actually have a student all the way from EHV until graduate, and then even went to university, become a drug addict, steal money, went to jail, and then he also got cleansing and all that, So went to recovery and all that lah. I think he went to help himself, and then finally, I think at age 30 plus, he become, his whole life, EHP trained up everything about Baba, everything he know. But yet, the life is very different from this path that we see. Maybe Suresh can explain more about it. Today, he actually helped drug addicts in the center and all that. Even outside he helped. Suresh, maybe you can, I don't know, because you did talk to him, right, Saram?
Who is his brother? I don't know.
Then Chandrika Saramban, you remember?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
He's a student, yeah.
So, no, the moment you go towards self-realization, automatically it implies that from here, those who are trying to establish stability and security, we are better positioned to help them. That's why the Swamijis come down to help. That's why the people who realize go down to help. Because by helping those who are stabilizing and gaining security and all that, the people who have attained or attaining higher will continue to sustain them. The only way we will continue to sustain our momentum towards the fulfillment of our self-realization is when we exert our efforts to help others. That is a cycle. That's why this is a cycle, this whole cycle. So others will help. So like what I told the teachers one day, when the students keep on asking questions, that it's because of the students, that the teacher improves. That's why Baba said in one quote, a good teacher is forever wanting to be a student. A good student is forever yearning to be a teacher. So when that quote definitely means that once you're a teacher, you continue to exert your effort and you'll be a good teacher if you're forever wanting to be a student. So like that, if we're moving towards this, if we continue to keep what we know within ourselves and do not try and exert that, slowly that will also dissipate. This particular sessions that we all have, and each of us are sharing, the more and more we talk about it, the more and more we share, we are reinforcing these ideals among ourselves, and we reinforce among the things to say. Like even when I'm saying these things repeatedly, it's not for the purposes of hearing. Actually, I'm repeatedly hearing, and I'm hearing what I'm saying so that I practice. Yeah, it's because then I remind myself that I need to practice also. I cannot be just saying it. And so it gives you a self-affirmation and self-reinforcement as you keep on telling like that. I used to remember when I did very badly in my science, my chemistry and all that, when I did my Form 5, so I went for tuition class. So I used to go to, so I cannot remember some of the formulas. So what I did was I went into a class, I waited for all the students to leave, and after lunch, this class will be empty. Then I come into the class, I close all the doors and the windows and everything else. Then I will act and pretend to be a teacher. So I put the same style as that teacher, and then I'll imitate my teacher and write the formulas in the whiteboard and imagine that I'm teaching a 40 students like that. So when I do like this, I have a better chance of remembering those things that the teacher taught earlier like that. Yeah, I know. So my point here is that if we continuously must reach out and help as much as we can in order for our momentum towards spirituality. Yeah. If you stop it, and the moment we stop, there'll be a few things can happen. Number one, some kind of funny awareness will start to give you a feeling, oh, I know this, all these things. Therefore, one false ego will come. The greatest ego, my dear friends, is your spiritual ego. Oh, this is the reason why, if you notice Lord Shiva's neck around there is a snake, So the ultimate, even from the point of destruction, the ultimate thing is your spiritual ego. That one comes in, my God, you had it. All other egos, somehow they can vanquish, but spiritual ego is the worst. It gives you an illusion, kind of a funny feeling. So you must, that's why you go to Jnanis, you go to the Rishis, and you go to the all, Swamiji, can you please, I don't know, I'm not good in that, I don't, they'll always tell like that, I don't know. I'm not sure. We'll see, depend on the God, the way they talk as if they absolutely nothing. Then finally, when you provoke and when the knowledge comes out, my God. So this is what it always, we must come to the point in which we must not get trapped in the spiritual ego of what it can happen, but continuously exert our effort towards helping others to attain stability and security and whatever it is, because everybody needs to go through a process. By the way, just another point, it does not also make us come to a point of judging. Everyone in life has to go through this. So you cannot say, oh, I'm so high, the others are low. That is wrong. It's like everyone has to go through the evolution. Everyone has. So our job is to help make people comfortable in the journey, make them happy, make them this, so that finally, that's why Baba said, come experiment me, experience me, then accept me. You also said, I have come to give you what you want, so that one day you want what I give. So now I want this, I want that, I want that. But hey, I've come to give you something higher. The higher thing you're not come to ask. That higher thing is what we now need to ask for. Bhagavan, finally you say, Swami, whatever it is, I want to experience the highest bliss in this world, okay? I don't care. By the time you die, I have to experience the 10 to the power 18 quintillion. You told quintillion, I want that quintillion. Give me that quintillion, Bhagavan. That is the earnestness. Give it to me. I want this. I want that feeling must be strong and intense. And then you'll find that everything else you will be able to infuse that happiness in everything. I tell you. Anyway. Hey, I'm talking a lot, Ludwig. So no, I better stop. Okay, please, others. Savitan, please take over. Savitan.
Okay, thank you, Suresh, and a wonderful sharing by Professor Suresh and Brother James as well. So hopefully this, this simple pyramid, looks very simple, but a lot of wisdom came out just by spending some time to reflect on where we are at the moment. So like Suresh Anna mentioned, we shouldn't judge other people, and at the same time, it is okay for us to assess where we are, to reflect where we are, but it should not mean that we should critically all the time judge ourselves, because that would also be one of the hindrances which would pull us down. Once we start to judge, we start to compare. If we do it very frequently, it's good to just reflect once in a while. But once you start to judge and compare, very soon, once you start judging very frequently, comparison starts to arise as well. And when you start to compare, then it just defeats the entire purpose of our own personal spiritual sadhana and spiritual upliftment journey as well. So just being very mindful of what Anna said regarding the spiritual ego, and how as this ego progresses, how it starts to manifest in different ways, in different thoughts, in different behaviors, and in different situations, how you can just suddenly react in different ways, and all this. Sometimes you need to really build your awareness. That is why meditation, your personal sadhana is very important. As your awareness becomes more consolidated, the sense of embodiment in the present moment is very strong, then you're able to really tease out the spiritual ego, and you're able to peel it out layer by layer by layer, and that is easily done by self-inquiry. So hopefully from this one pyramid, we've been able to get a lot. So, Sairam, thank you so much. Now we move to the first question. I think we have like 15 minutes, so let's just go through this question. Do we have Sister Cindy with us? Sister Cindy, are you here?
Hi,
No.
yes, I am.
Yeah. Can you help us read this question, Sister Cindy, if that's okay?
Yeah, sure. Swami said, greatness is the consciousness of the achievement of the highest end of life. So the question is, what spiritual practices do you follow in order to achieve this kind of greatness?
Okay, thank you, Sister Cindy. So the question says, what spiritual practices do you follow in order to achieve this kind of greatness? In order for us to understand this question, Swami introduces this one concept. It's called the 4 kinds of temples. So Swami says that the 4 kinds of temples that we all have, we have the Vidyalaya, or the temple of learning. We have the Bhojanalaya, the temple of food. It's from the word Bhojan. Then we have Vaidyalaya, the temple of healing. And then we have Devalaya, the temple of God. So a balance between all these temples are very, very important. So Swami goes on to explain the virtues or the direction to which we can better exercise these temples within ourselves. So in regards to Vidyalaya, okay, Swami says, seek only knowledge in the subjects you are interested in. Okay, he says, seek only knowledge in the subjects that you're interested in. Sometimes in our spiritual life, I'm also a victim to this. You become very greedy in the sense that you want to know a lot of knowledge. You want to, get that wisdom, that jnana. How come Swami I'm not experiencing this? How can you just without a script? Everything just comes out from him during his speeches. How do you reach that stage? So we are all moving towards that. So sometimes we can get a bit too, we can push ourselves too much, and then it can also be a hindrance to our spiritual growth. So Swami says here, exercise this Vidyalaya by seeking only knowledge in the subjects you're interested in. So how to know which subjects you're interested in, right? Because what interests us yesterday no longer interests us today. What interests us today may no longer interest us in the future. But these are all the desires which with the interest which change at a very superficial level. These are all fleeting interests, which comes and go. But there are all these purpose, the values, the purpose. So going back to your conscience and going back to your let your conscience guide your purpose, and through your purpose you will know what is the knowledge that you are supposed to focus in and what you're interested in, and then you're able to really narrow down to this particular knowledge. Then we have Bhojanalaya. Okay, Bhojanalaya is temple of food. Swami says, eat whatever food you like and then come out happy. So this is very important. Even in the East program, we have this one program called this East program, and we are planning to, really help empower people with this knowledge on how to use human values to really appraise food, how we can practice better eating habits. And by exercising this Bhojanalaya, it's not eat whatever makes you happy, like you want to eat like one bucket of KFC or something like that. It does not mean that. What it means here is that happiness comes from this. We are talking about the atmic happiness, or the feeling of contentment, spiritual contentment. So what kind of food you eat really makes a difference. You eat a sattvic food, a tamasic food, or rajasic food, and then what's the ultimate outcome from that? And now moving to Vaidyalaya. Vaidyalaya is a temple of healing. So most people, Swami says, relates their illness to the doctor and receives the prescribed medicines from him. With this, the purpose of going to the hospital is accomplished. So basically, the healing can happen by going to the hospital and asking, meeting a doctor, or you can go within yourself and also learn about the recurrent habits, the patterns, the reactive patterns that we have been holding on to, our past vasanas, and how to really break them and dissolve them in our awareness. And then finally, Swami goes on to say the most important part of the temples is the Devalaya, or the temple of God. When people go to Devalaya, or the temple of God, they do not always conduct themselves properly. This he in his speech he refers to a group of people who don't conduct themselves properly. So what he says is that in a temple, you should be concerned only with worship and not think of anything else. So similarly, there's a literal meaning here and also a deeper meaning to this. So the literal meaning would be when we go to a physical temple, there will be places for, there will be the shrine, and then there's the deity, the main deity, and then all the other accompanying deities and consorts and whatnot. So then in that to that in that context, your attention focus should be placed on worship and not to think of anything else. Significance to that is your body is also a temple, and your body is also a temple of God, and it's the matter of how you treat your body. That is how divine your type of thoughts, the type of action, and also the words which come out from you will be. So similarly, really paying attention to the inner significance of this Devalaya, how you can cultivate these human values as well. So, and Swami ends this contemplation or this knowledge of the four kinds of temples by saying that all the four equally, they are all equal places for worship for man. But because of the infirmities in human nature, they are not all treated alike. So what Swami says here is that though they are all, there's also a literal meaning and also an inner meaning to this. The literal meaning is if you look at these places as a physical place, then you might appraise the sentence differently. But let's say if you look at it from an internal perspective, the kind of knowledge that we acquire, the kind of food that we take, the kind of healing that goes on within ourselves, and the kind of importance that we give to divine thoughts as well. So all of these are important components of our human experience, and especially if we are looking forward to move up in the growth of wisdom, or the pyramid of desires, as Sister Shamini explained earlier. Okay, so now we will open the floor, and it's a wonderful, a new concept for all of us to explore. I think we have 5 minutes. Maybe we can open this up to anyone who would like to share what you think about this, or any reflection that comes in your mind. Saira.
Yeah, actually, this is a very, very powerful imagery and powerful analogy that Baba has given. One easy way of doing this, if you see the chariot, when Murugan, Taipusam and all that, you see the chariot and people going behind the chariot. So always the feeling, if you can just say, okay, you look at the chariot, Swami, chariot, somebody else is pushing, Murugan is on the statue and all that. Hey, Baba, who is the chariot? Bhagavan, I am your chariot. So where will you be? You will be in my heart. So that means now, the moment we install Bhagavan in the heart, automatically now this whole system is now like a temple. That means now wherever I go is a temple. Wherever you see, you are a temple. So now every day we feel like that. It's like when you take your bath, it's like your Abhishekam, because God is inside your heart. So now, if you look at the Bhojanalaya, which is the temple of food, this is like almost like one part of your body, which is the Annamaya Kosha. So Annamaya Kosha, now you install the temple there at the. So what does it mean? The whole food you're eating is like prasadam. Prasadam is not to be eaten until the food is until the stomach is so full, until the whole food comes out to the mouth. Not like that. We should eat very sparingly, and then eat with very great restraint, and then it is good. Then it becomes a healthy food, and consume little bit. We enjoy everything like how some eat like that. So you will find that you won't put on weight. You will be good, and you'll enjoy life. Will enjoy for a longer period and stuff like that. So this is Annamaya Kosha. Then it comes to healing. Healing is generally done in the Pranamaya, which is the prana, and the Manomaya. Both these things together must be. So this comes to Vaidhelya. So this is where the Vaidyam part, the healing part comes in. So I must only feel like this. I must only think like this. So now intrinsically, if you already have, you will have a system of healing going on all the time in your body. So you feel good, and how to heal, you must have good thoughts, you must have good feeling for other people, you must have good energy about yourself. All this is coming from both these two quantities. When you intermingle like that, you'll get a lot of healing. Your whole body is now healing. And this will continue to heal because you've installed Bhagavan in the heart. Then comes the third part, which is the jnana part. The jnana part is where you look at the knowledge part, Vidyalaya, the temple of learning. This is where the Vijnanamaya Kosha, intelligence, analyzing, looking at it, looking deeply at Swami's literature, reading a whole lot. So that aspect of it is, then you find auspiciousness coming more and more and more. And finally, what happens? Finally, all these processes leads you to experiencing what? Bliss, happiness inside. That is the ultimate. The temple. That's why anytime anybody goes to any temple, you feel happy there. Although all the problems outside, you put the two slippers outside and you enter inside, you feel bliss. So now, where is that outside? Outside is that inside the heart. This inside the heart, if you're going in the deeper recesses of your system, you should feel peaceful, you should be happy. There is where the Devam is, Devalaya. This is the temple of God. So now we can actually literally the four types we can embed within ourselves, and we carry him like in a chariot. Now you see. Now you'll feel, once you install like this, it's very funny. Once you install like that, you go to a pub, you'll feel very guilty, You feel very uncomfortable. How can I bring Bhagwan here like this? You'll feel funny going into the place. And then you go to disco, you're Bhagwan, so sorry, Swami. I should not be putting you into this kind of stressful. So suddenly you'll find some system guiding you to move to places of goodness, places of kindness, places of compassion. It's guided because you're moving like a chariot now. The whole system. So this is wherever you go, we bring sanctity, serenity, and sanctify everything that we go through. This is what Baba is giving us. The bhava of what we should be is like a temple, 4 kinds of temples. That's how we should do.
Okay, thank you, Suresh and and then we have 1 minute. Oh yeah, Brother James, go ahead, brother.
I just want to share my recent experience in Hong Kong. My former 2 trips to Hong Kong, I never liked it because very congested, although it's very convenient, not like Malaysia, very free, a lot of space, But this time was very interesting. This New Year I went, my son took me to the beautiful place of Hong Kong, where there were 3 temples. One of the temple is called the 10,000 Buddhas. You walk up the hill, very high hill. You walk up, much higher than our Batu Cave, much higher. Because it's springtime, the temperature is around 20 degrees. It was very nice, very windy. So every step you walk, you see Buddha, 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 all the way up there. Up there, there's beautiful temple, hall, and all that, and a big compound, Of course, New Year, a lot of people, a lot of many people. Even you go to the main hall, you only can kowtow, pray, that's all. But you won't have a place to sit down to meditate because there are so many people around. But very strange, this temple, when you go, the compound so big, you look around, you feel like you want to meditate, But there were so many people around, So finally, in the far end there, nobody was there, And there, I find that is a good place, at the far end corner, outside at the compound there. So I went there and sit, and then you meditate. You just transcend. The vibration is so good, but you have a proper place to actually experience it. But you can feel there is a calling that you want to meditate there because the vibration energy was so good. But because there's so many people, you actually have to look for a good place. that is something interesting. It's not inside the temple, it's outside the temple compound that you find it. And then, I don't know how many of them have been to this. The richest man in Hong Kong, Lee Ka-sing, built a Guan Yin Buddha Taoist temple at the outskirts where there's mountain and seawater and all that. Very beautiful. And it cost Malaysian ringgit $2 billion over dollars. Very, very beautiful. And then not everybody can go. You have to go internet booking. And one day they only allow 200 people to go. They even have a guide to show you around. Inside there are probably about 10 seats or 10 temples. They will explain the goddesses there. And then some teaching. Some teaching will be there. Every station there will be a teaching. So even you are ignorant of teaching, you go there, just pray, you look, oh, this God is like that, oh, there's some teaching. Quietly you are learning, learning the basic thing of spirituality. Very clean, very beautiful, very systematic. So there's 10 stations you go around. Because why? Just go around the temple took more than 2.5 hours. So very big, very beautiful, Our vibration was good, but then we didn't have time to find a proper place to actually sit for meditation. So Hong Kong, I was surprised that my son told me, 60% of Hong Kong is forest and mountain and beautiful place. And a lot of foreigners like to go to Hong Kong for trekking. I was shocked. I thought it's very congested, very populated, and it's like rat race, in Hong Kong. When you go to the town and the city. No, actually it's different. In the town, you live simple living, small room, small space. But when you go outskirts, trekking or the temple, very, very beautiful. Start up.
Yeah. Thank you, James. Thank you, Sabitan. It was really very nice, very inspiring. But I'm sure you're not ended, right? There's going to be some more, a little bit more you have to cover, right, Sabitan? Next week, I think we can cover.
A lot more to go.
Lot more. Okay, good, very good. So what we have come to the end. I just want to tell you this coming Saturday at 11 p.m. again, like last time, which we did. There's going to be the Sai 100, the remaining 4 presentations. Please, all of you, will send you the link will send you. Please join us because we had almost 500 people the last time when we had, and we listened to very inspiring stories in the Sai 100. So this time we are doing tree planting, the school tutoring program, public meeting, mental wellness. So these are all sessions that we'll be covering. Hopefully all of you will join, and it will be very nice because what we are doing now is we are heading towards Bhagavan Baba's 100th birthday. It will be very successful. The programs all are going very well. But what we want is everyone to feel. So something that you can be part of and you can do, then it'll be very good. In Africa, they have planted more than 350,000 trees. A lot of, wonderful things are happening in the world. It'd be nice to join and see how we can look at and be inspired by what they are doing, by what others are doing, so that we also, in our own place, we can do it. So till we meet again next week, Sai Ram, and thank you.